Hey my good friends, Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. Today we're test driving the 2017 Volkswagen Golf Alltrack, the new adventuresome off-road version of the very popular sport wagon. We're going to take it out on the trail today and see how capable it is and see what it's really like to live with. Right up front here, this has a lot of styling elements that really set it apart from the Golf Sport Wagon. Different grille, a completely different lower front fascia that has sort of a skid plate element down there in addition to black plastic cladding. Fog lights are standard on this vehicle. Also standard are halogen headlights. You can get a lighting package that has the bi-xenon headlights and LED daytime running lights, but that is an extra package. Wheels on this one, these are 18-inch alloys. Now, if you get into the lower trim grades, you get a 17-inch alloy wheel, which I do suspect probably has a little bit better of a capability for off-roading, a little bit more protection for that wheel with a higher sidewall. The 18s here, very nice looking wheel, but honestly, a little bit more tailored for on-pavement use. Coming down the side here, one big difference, again, down below is that lower cladding, lots of cladding, and you've also got a nice metallic trim piece that gives it a nice upscale look. Up here on top, standard roof rails, and I'm sure your Volkswagen dealer will help you with lots of different accessories for you to attach your toys to this thing with. Out here at the back of the Alltrack, one big difference you'll see is down here on the lower fascia. You've got dual exhaust tips, and you've got that skid plate sort of styling treatment down there, which I think really looks pretty neat here. Also, another thing I always like to point out with Volkswagens, this has the trademark logo you pull with your fingers to open up that rear hatch. Now, you might have noticed here, this does not have a power opener like some vehicles in class. Not a real big deal because this is still a car, not so much a big SUV with a big heavy gate. If you watch my other videos where I've reviewed the Volkswagen Golf as well as the Sport Wagon, you know that I really do like this interior. It's very German, very businesslike. It doesn't have a lot of strange and artistic design innovations that really try to impress you here. No, this is a place to work. It's a place to live, and everything's laid out in a very functional and German way. Now, one thing that does differentiate this from the standard Sport Wagon is finishes. Here on the center stack as well as the dash applique is a metallic charcoal finish, not the piano black, and I like that better actually because it doesn't show the dust and the dirt nearly as much, as well as the fingerprints. Also over here on the door panels and on the front of the dash, you've got sort of a carbon fiber-ish aluminum pattern sort of finish that it's very pleasing to the eye. I think I like it, and it is unique to this car. Now, sitting here, these seats are very comfortable. These are Volkswagen Sport seats, always liked them. Here they're trimmed in VTEX, which is vinyl. It's not leather, and unfortunately Volkswagen does not offer leather in this model, at least not yet. The good news is it's available in a variety of colors. You can get a really rich brown color as well as tan, and in certain models you can also get a two-tone combination of gray and black. Now, sitting here, the driving position very much identical to the Sport Wagon or any other Golf. You do notice that the car is sitting up slightly higher, so you have a little bit more of a commanding view out there. Tilt and telescoping steering wheel that really allows you to get a nice view both of your instruments as well as get a nice comfortable spot. Now, we don't have memory seats here, but not really in this price class something you'd expect. When it comes to storage, there's a nice big area down here for your phone. It does close, and I've got a pretty good sized phone, and it does fit all the way down in here, and you can close that if you don't want to look at it. There are ports down here for all the things you need to plug your phone in, including that USB port. Down here, cup holders. There is storage in here, but not a really large space. The good news is down here in the doors, large map pockets where you can put a lot of stuff, 2 or 3 bottles of water in addition to a few other things. Back here in the back seat, you're sitting in the back of a Golf Sport Wagon. It's a car, therefore not like a lot of SUVs where I really tend to talk about the fact that you've got a low seating position. You do have one here. It's because you're in a car. You don't have that really high, tall SUV-like feel, but the good news is that there's plenty of room back here. I'm about 5'9". These front seats are set right in the middle because they're set for me up front. Therefore, I've got plenty of space. Now, if your front passenger here was a little bit larger and came back, I've got a little bit of room to spare here, and if they were shorter or wide, there'd be even more room back here. Now, headroom, very good because well, we've got this big, huge piece of glass up here that actually, sometimes sunroofs take some headroom out, but this one actually sort of really opens the space up and makes it nice and bright. It's comfortable back here. That's the big takeaway. It's the fact that these seats have a lot of bolstering, so you do sit down in them and they sort of hold you in place. There is space for a third passenger here in the middle, but they're going to sit up a little bit higher and be a little bit, well, less held. One amenity back here that's very near and dear to my heart is the rear HVAC vents. Here in Arizona, when it's hot in the summer, it's always something I look for whenever I'm stuck in the back of someone else's car. There's also a fold-down armrest right here with cup holders in it. What's not back here are heated seats. Again, this class doesn't necessarily put those back here at this price range, so not necessarily something I call missing. Now in the back, because we're in the wagon, there's a lot of storage back here behind this seat. There's a lot of space back there. And the best part about it, of course, is you can fold these seats down. They do fold down in a 60-40 split, but in addition to that, that center armrest does have a door that allows you to have a pass-through if you still have passengers on both sides. So if you got skis or other long things, it really does make it convenient. It's an extra added feature. Now when these seats are down, you have an almost flat load floor. And the best part is underneath the rear load floor, you do have a temporary spare tire. And in the center there, you can see the Fender subwoofer for the audio system. But note the fact that there's actually quite a bit of space in there that you can actually store a lot of other things underneath that load floor. As I've reported before with Volkswagens, the switchgear in here and the fit and finish of a very high quality. Everything you touch and feel just has a nice tactile feel. It feels expensive, and that really is the thing here that's always impressed me with the most recent Volkswagens, is the fact that you can spend up and go into an Audi, Mercedes-Benz, BMW, and you're not going to find a higher quality level of switchgear and fit and finish overall. It's a very well put together interior, therefore I rate it at 5 out of 5 stars. Because we're in the SEL, this has the top-of-the-line Fender audio system with the MIB2 infotainment touchscreen. Again, as I've reported before, this is a very good system and a much better replacement for the previous generation that they had in these vehicles. The touchscreen menu's very good, the graphics very crisp, and it really reacts well to your touch. And the better part about that is the fact that when you are using it, it has pinch and swipe controls, and the menu structure is very simple, it's very logical, therefore it doesn't take a lot of time to learn it. You don't really have to sit down and go through your manual for a day to learn how to use it and be safe behind the wheel. And the Fender audio system, awesome. I mean, it really is one of the best audio systems out there. I really do like it. Therefore, this system gets 5 out of 5 stars. Oh, and it has Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. I can't forget that. What's under the hood of the Alltrack is the single and only engine available. That's a 1.8-liter 4-cylinder turbocharged engine with direct fuel injection. Here, it has 170 horsepower and 199 pound-feet of torque. And in my tester here, it's mated to a DSG 6-speed automatic transmission. A 6-speed manual will be available a little bit later next year. So how does it go? Woo! All right. Now, big difference between this and the Golf Sport Wagon. This has the 6-speed DSG robotic manual automatic transmission. Now, I know that sounds like an oxymoron. If you're not familiar with transmissions, this is essentially, mechanically speaking, a manual transmission where the computer does the shifting for you. It has a regular clutch, just like most manual transmissions. Therefore, when it shifts, it feels like one. And that really comes into play when you put it over in the manual shift gate or you use the paddle shifters. You get much stiffer shifts, much crisper shifts that are a little bit more sporty than you might get with a little bit softer feel that you get from the automatic. So that's a really big plus here in the Alltrack. I do like this engine quite a bit, even though I'm more of a TDI diesel guy. This being the only engine available in this car isn't a penalty at all. It's got plenty of power when you ask for it, and it's got a nice sound to it. Very little turbo lag. So if you like the sporting feel of a car like this, you can have power pretty much whenever you ask for it. Now, fuel economy, now I said I like diesels, it's because the fuel economy, and you still get the power here, this is rated by the EPA at 25 mpg combined. In my week with it, I got 29, and that was a pretty good mixture of highway as well as around town driving. So I didn't really even try that hard, and the air conditioner's been on because even though it's November here in Phoenix, the air conditioner is still on because it's still 80-some degrees out there more often than not. So Powertrain gets 5 out of 5 stars. On the topic of handling, my first blush with this is that it feels very much like the Golf Sport Wagon. This does have an extra bit of ride height that's actually not quite 1 inch, it's 0.6 inches according to the specs. So they've given it that extra ride height that it's going to need for being able to take it out off-road into a little bit more rough territory, but they haven't made it so tall that it really affects the on-road handling. The ride identical to the Sport Wagon, and here, because we're on the SEL, I have the larger 18-inch alloy wheels, so that does give me a little bit more of a road holding feel as I lay it into the curves. So if you like the German car feel when it comes to handling and driving, this still has that. It hasn't gotten soft and tippy like an SUV in any way whatsoever. And of course, it's a very quiet ride in here. These tires don't make a lot of noise, a lot of sound editing down in the floor as well as everywhere else in the vehicle. And there's not a lot of wind noise from that panoramic sunroof. So we're all good here, at least on the pavement. All right, so because this is marketing itself to me like an off-road vehicle, even though it's a car, I'm going to take it on the mogul test here. And this is an area where I get one front wheel off the ground and one rear wheel sort of hanging there with little traction, or maybe even sometimes hanging in midair. And it really sort of forces the all-wheel drive system to really show what it's made of. Can it direct traction to the two wheels that still have it and stop those spinning wheels that don't? Now, I've got this in off-road mode, which is a distinct mode that comes with this, and it offers a number of different changes to the traction control system, as well as it offers hill descent. But as you can see here on the screen, it also has different meters that give you sort of off-road metrics. Now I'm going to pull up here really slowly, and because this is a car, not an SUV, I can't quite drive into this thing as steeply as I normally do, because I'd be getting into that front fascia down there. So we're getting up here. All right, now that front wheel over there is literally hanging off the ground. The back wheel over here behind me, very little traction, and it's just kind of wanting to spin there. So I'm sitting here kind of stuck. Now I'm going to lay on the throttle nice and easy, and it does it no problem. It was able to direct traction to those wheels that had it and stop the spinning wheels that didn't. Very good. One last thing here, part of this off-road mode is hill descent control. So foot off the brake, it controls my descent speed going down a hill. Now that wasn't really that big a hill, but had it been, it would have controlled my speed. Very good. The last frontier for the Alltrack is the desert washboard road, because even though this isn't really true hardcore off-roading, it's a great way to see how well put together the car is, how well tuned the chassis is, and just how tight it is. And so what I'm finding out here is that because we've got these 18-inch wheels with low profile tires, the ride is a little bit harsh when you get over some of the rougher stuff. If you had a lower trim grade with the 17-inch wheels, might be a little bit softer. But when it comes to how well it handles out here, how well the traction goes down, it's very good. I'm not getting any rattling or shaking in the suspension or any kind of shuddering in the steering, which does happen with SUVs out there. So the good news is that even though this is riding pretty stiff, it has a nice solid tight feel. Now I am getting just a little bit of rattling, I think coming from that panoramic roof up there, which is a common trait, but for the most part this car is feeling pretty darn solid, more than I expected, being that it's not really truly an SUV. Therefore chassis comes in at 5 out of 5 stars. Whew. On the measure of quality, Volkswagen has performed very well in my previous test. This is a product in Mexico, and while a lot of people might look at that immediately and think maybe not as good quality, the reality is this car is very well put together. The paint finish, the materials, the fit and finish is top of class in almost any class of vehicle. It just goes to prove that design and engineering have more to do with quality than does where the car is actually built. And in this case, we have quality at 5 of 5 stars. On the topic of safety, even though it's not something I use as scoring in my test drives here, I really care about it a lot. And this is an IIHS Top Safety Pick Plus, and that's because it has a good rating in all of their crash tests, including that new brutal small overlap test. Also, it has a superior level of crash prevention systems available. All right, my friends, let's wrap it up for the Alltrack. I like this car a lot. I was very impressed with it, as you could tell, so much so it goes on my I'd buy it list for 2016, which means I'd buy it. In fact, I might just very well buy myself one. I really do like it that much, and here's why. Looking at the specs, this one's right around $33,000. This is an SEL. There is more money to spend here. You can get up to around $36,000, $37,000 with option packages. You can also get this down below $30,000 in the S trim grade, and next year you'll be able to get a manual transmission in this. That's a big bonus, something I might actually be after. Well, what I like about it is the fact that for the price, you get German driving experience, you get extra off-road capability, and something that I really think probably is going to count more in those snow states than out here in the desert, because it's not really for hardcore off-roading, it's for where you don't have good traction and you do want to get off that pavement. So I really do like the packaging overall, and you do get a lot for your money. So value, I put it 5 stars. When you put that in with everything else we've already talked about, we're at 5 stars for the review. Very good. I'm Sam Haymart for Test Driven TV. I hope you enjoyed the ride. Well, that was a lot of fun. I really had a good time with this car, and I'm pretty serious. I think I might just buy myself one. Black, I think. Black's kind of my color when it comes to these things. Anyway, if you like the test drive you just saw, click on the big round logo right over there on the right of your screen and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Also, if you like this video, there's a playlist, and that's the big square icon right there just above it. Either way, stay tuned.